It's amazing to me just how 2024 has begun in terms of the VTuber space. VTubers have been a integral part of content creation for the past, I would say, 5 years now. And VTubing in general has become a new form of entertainment that I personally enjoy. And 2024 has hit us very hard in the way VTubing, in terms of the talent agencies, and in terms of all the, you know, stuff, the incidents that has happened, and it's quite frankly insane. It's insane to think that this is all happening in the span of just literally 2 months. And for those unaware, this video is going to be talking about the incident and what has happened in the last couple of hours in terms of Nijisanji and the former talent who worked for Nijisanji, Selene. Selene, who now goes by Dokibird, has had a falling out and was terminated by Nijisanji back in January. And if you want more information about the entire video, about the entire situation, I do have a video that explains that a little bit more. So if you want to check that out, please, click on the video link below, and you could definitely check that out. But that basically began a huge incident that has resulted into what happened a couple hours ago. Nijisanji is a company run by Anycolors. Anycolors is a big company that basically, runs Nijisanji, and it's a company that has been scrutinized because of certain actions they have allegedly done. And in regards to management, in regards to company-wise policies, and in regards to certain talents. And Nijisanji has really been getting, frankly, not better over the past few years. I've been following Nijisanji for about a year, maybe 2 years now. I'm not exactly sure. And I think a lot of the talents there were very funny, and I love their content. That being said, Nijisanji as a company as a whole is not sunshine and rainbows, as we, the community, are finding out really, really quickly in the span of literally just the 2 months. Earlier in the evening on February 12th, apparently posted or streamed a video on Alira's channel around the same time that Dokibird went live to discuss a certain matter. The individuals in that video were Alira, Vox, and Ike. In that video, it was talked and discussed with the Nijisanji community, with their fans, about certain legal information that apparently was shown to them by Nijisanji and their lawyers. It revolved around certain information that, according to the three livers, the talents, revolved around personal information. The rest of the video spoke about, their relationships with Selene and how they felt betrayed by her. They felt like their trust with her, they were friends. They trusted her, and you can find a video if you want. It's still up. I don't know if it might be taken down by the time this video is up. It seems like, because to be fair, allegedly, it just feels like the entire video was scripted. Was like a script given to them by Nijisanji. Although that is neither confirmed. So I have no proof whether or not it was scripted. It just sounded that way based on how they spoke. It was basically talking about, how their side, how Nijisanji are not, in the wrong in this situation, and that Selene was not only lying, but that she was, she was the reason all that happened at the end of the day. My personal opinion, I believe that's a whole bunch of horse rat. I'm trying to use a word that's not, really, really bad for this video. But yeah, it did not come off really well at all. There's a few reasons why. One being one of the big things is that they literally posted that stream video around the same time that Dokibird was streaming, which is a really petty move. The other thing, and this is much more bigger than that, why in the world are you making 3 of your talents be the ones to diverge this information, to tell this information to viewers? Why are the staffers, why aren't management being the ones to deliver this message? Why is that not what they're doing? Why are you dedicating it to the talent to be the ones to deliver this message? Why? It comes off as the company themselves using the talent to hide behind, using them as meat shields. Now, before we get into like more of the content of what, you know, the talent mentioned in that video, I just want to say that this is legit an opinion of mine, and not only mine, but a large, you know, group of people who follow Nijisanji, that the talents are being used here by the company to take most of the blow. And it's frankly something a company should not do. It should be management. It should be, you know, certain people in the company themselves delivering this message, or any sort of message, right? It should be them. It shouldn't be the talents. You're basically causing more harassment to be done to the talents because of the way the video is presented, the way the video, you know, when the video was streamed. So it's incredibly bad on your part, in my opinion. It was also stated that the words and the statements that they were making in that video were their own and not necessarily from Nijisanji themselves, which I can't fully believe that they would do this unless Nijisanji kind of made him do it, simply just because why would they do this? It just feels like they are really being pushed into the fire pit, you know? And I don't understand why they would reluctantly do this if they know that this could easily make them look terrible in the circumstances. I understand trying to defend yourself, but at the end of the day, like, this was not really a good idea to do, whether it was, you know, Nijisanji's decision or their decision. It just really wasn't a terrific idea. And it just sucks. It really does feel like Nijisanji is just really pushing them out front. And I don't know. It's very hard. Like, they even mentioned that, you know, after collective agreement, you know, Alira decided that she would use her channel for this. So I it's freaking just astonishing, just like how like this video was played out. I can't really explain it any other way than just shock. I just can't. It's really baffling. And it just does not look good for the company at all, as any sort of look. You're using them as meat shields. That being said, let's talk about certain content that was in that video. Alira was the first to talk, and she was mentioning certain things. One of the things that she mentioned was that they were given legal documents that were sealed to view. I'm talking about actual legal documents that they saw and talked about in this video. While they didn't mention like anything like personal information, like doxing or anything like that, it's still documents that should have only been seen with the parties involved, such as Selene's lawyers, or aka Dokibird's lawyers, and Nijisanji's lawyers. According to Dokibird, they signed an NDA, they signed an agreement that only the lawyers and anyone involved legally will be allowed to see this. And with that involved, she put certain information on those documents that basically, you know, kind of was directed towards some of the talent. Now, if you know the story, Selene was harassed by other talents, according to her. She alleges that certain talent were making it very difficult to work there. She was being harassed by the talent, by management, to the point that she attempted to hurt herself in a way that is inexcusable, to the point that she was hospitalized. That in itself would clearly be in legal documents. Now, Alira mentions that personal information in regards to 3 of the talents were in those documents, and she felt like she was scared that those documents could eventually be out in the open and, harm the safety of her and the 2 other talents.
I would like to first apologize if my silence on the matter has caused any worry. Over the past month, staff received documents from Selene's lawyer containing examples of her claimed experiences under any color. These documents in question included personal information of some livers, and when it was sent to us, we learned that there was a potential that this information could be made public.
Now, the 3 names that, according in the video, were Alira herself, Enna, and Millie.
The information poses a risk to our personal safety and puts some of us at risk of doxing. Notably, one section of this document alludes to where Millie, Enna, and I live. However, there are also harmful claims Selene made in the document about some livers' personal information that we believe are simply untrue. I felt threatened and scared of speaking out about the situation because of the risk that it could pose to not just my own safety, but the safety of those around me as well.
Hey, I just wanted to also say that I was recording this as I was editing, but Vox also mentioned that he was named in the documents as well. Now you can hear her feel like she is scared. She was scared about the information that was shown to her, which probably shouldn't have been shown to her. Because of, it's terrifying information, possibly because it could literally be, have information about her family, about her friends, and everyone else's. So it is scary to see that. Like, if I was given a document out of nowhere that had information about, where my family lived, where my friends lived, all of a sudden, it would be scary. So I don't, fault her for being scared. I don't fault her for being terrified. And, you could hear in her voice that she was scared and terrified, right? At the end of the day, this document should have never been given to them, simply just for their safety. There's a reason why these documents are only, given to lawyers, because they're the ones who need to assess the document and make sure, everything is, legitimately fine, it's not threatening or anything like that, and let the courts decide on all this situation and keep it behind closed doors. So it's very weird that they did this to give these documents to this talent, because now you get a response like this, and it's something that probably should have never happened. Now has been a lot of people trying to find information about who has been harassing Selene. And there is an entire community in 4chan and stuff like that, which I don't necessarily take as serious sources or anything like that. But there was a lot of discussion on there, Reddit as well, about who possibly could be the ones who were harassing Selene. And Millie and Enna were 2 of the names that kept popping up. Now, I'm not accusing them of being the ones who did it. I'm not saying that Alira was also the one who did it, the harassment. I'm not saying Vox did. I'm not saying that Ike did as well. All of it is allegations right now that they are the ones who were involved in that sort of harassment. The only reason your names will ever show up on some sort of legal document is if either you are considered a witness to the whole harassment, or you're being accused of being a, part of that harassment. Those are really the only reasons why your names and other personalized information would be on those documents. While I don't know why their names are in there, it's very suspicious. Again, these are just allegations. I'm not telling you that that this is the case, that these are the individuals who did harass Selene. It's just, it doesn't come off really good on their side, and it's weird that Nijisanji basically kind of allowed them to talk about this, and allowed Alira to talk about whose names were on the document. And to me, it seems like Nijisanji is purposely doing it so that the heat can get on the talent, like I said, using them as meat shields. It's kind of like a corporate tactic to use this so that you get those talents who are being accused or who had their names on legal documents to get angry at Selene so that she has less people to talk to or to provide evidence for any sort of harassment that she may have experienced. In order for for Selene to not win any sort of lawsuit, this kind of is like a strategy to get a lot of the talents inside Nijisanji to side with the company instead of Selene. Now, again, I have no proof of this, no evidence. All of this is, again, allegations. So it just seems really weird, and the timing of all this is just, all of this just comes off so badly. And here's why this is kind of a big situation, because according to some users and Dokibird herself, that she signed an NDA, that she was promised that none of the documents will be seen by anyone else. That includes the talent. It was like an NDA signed by herself, the lawyers, and Nijisanji and their lawyers. Yet, for some strange reason, Nijisanji decided to show these documents to their talents. Now, we could speculate why they did that. So it's weird that Nijisanji did this almost as if it's some sort of, tactic maybe? I don't know. It's very weird. These are just speculations. I have no proof of any of this. It's just really strange. Nijisanji basically admitted that they broke that NDA. They broke that promise, which hurt Dokibird even more, because now her trust is like completely shattered at this point. In terms of like legal stuff, you really hurt yourself as a company in terms of just any sort of like future legal, stuff that you can do. For example, sponsors would probably not want to do anything with you now because they can't trust you legally to keep anything secret, to keep anything private. That hurts you as a company itself. But at the end of the day, these are legal documents that sure have not been shown to anybody, including the talents. The other big thing about this whole thing is that legal documents require actual real names and actual locations of where they live. So these were documents that had to have those. You cannot use, the VTuber name, some imaginary address that doesn't exist, because that's not what happens in legal cases. You have to use your real name and your real location so that they could process it legally in a court of law. The only way any of that information would ever leak is if in court a judge is basically saying, yes, that's important enough that it should be made public. From what I understand from watching other videos about certain stuff like this, about privacy, about defendants and people involved in like laws, and again, I'm not a lawyer, so I could be completely wrong, and I apologize for that misinformation, but a judge is allowed to reveal public information of people if they are heavily involved in this case. So in the end, this alone makes Nijisanji look really bad in terms of like legality issues. Now, Nijisanji did release a statement regarding this, which we'll go over later. But let's continue on with the video. Vox then spoke about how Vox wanted to help Selene, and that Vox was there when Selene needed help, and he did his best to help. And it sounded like he cared. He wanted to help, and then he threw her under the bus. I get that probably he's scared, or like he doesn't like the idea of being in legal issues as well as everyone else involved in those documents. They're probably scared out of their minds and just want to be angry at something, but this isn't the right way to do it. And just throwing her under the bus just makes you look bad and gives more evidence public wise, for a lot of people to believe that, you guys were possibly allegedly at fault here. I'm not saying you guys were. I'm just saying that it doesn't look good any way you paint it. He mentioned something about how like Selene wanted to graduate, but she never did.
Even when she talked about wanting to graduate. For context, leaving Nijisanji is always an option for livers. If she had wanted to graduate beforehand, she was given very many chances to do so amicably, and on multiple occasions, Selene had told us she planned on graduating, but would then go back on this shortly after. For example, she told me that she would be graduating on the day we hosted the Prism Cup, but as you know, this didn't happen.
I had a problem with this statement when I reacted to it live on stream. The problem I had with it is that graduation is a mutual party. it means that if Selene wants to graduate, Nijisanji has to agree to it. Now, if, and I want to just make sure again, if this is true, which I'm not saying it is, I'm just giving you my opinion about how like these type of contracts work. If Nijisanji said no, then Selene can't do anything. She has to, stay on contract. She can't do anything. She can't graduate. So to say that Selene wanted to graduate for a long time is a really weird statement to make, because it has to be a mutual party. Nijisanji, if all these allegations are true, then Nijisanji wouldn't let her go until her contract expires, because guess what? Selene could come back and sue them if all the allegations of harassment are true. And so to say that she was very close to graduating and that she can graduate anytime she wants just feels like, it just doesn't seem like a proper statement to make about, that kind of stuff, because it's a mutual party. Both parties have to agree for graduation. So it's it was very weird hearing that. It's so weird. And then Ike gave his thoughts more about the trust between them and her faded and broke apart and such. But overall, the video was not a good look for Nijisanji, and it just put the three members involved in just the line of fire for more harassment, which is something that they specifically said in the video that they don't condone harassment anyway. Yet Nijisanji is basically, throwing them out into the wild against wolves. That's literally what they did, and it's such a shame to see that, because that Nijisanji just isn't really doing anything proper to really handle all this really well. It's incredibly bad. I just don't know how to really feel about all this, because I really don't want to believe that all this is happening, But at the end of the day, it is happening. This is reality. It is what it's happening. And Nijisanji fans should not at all support them for this. They shouldn't. They really shouldn't, because this is just really bad on Nijisanji's part. Now, in terms of the three talents who spoke in this video, just want to say this video does not mean go harass them. I don't care if anyone involved in this situation was harassed. Harassment in itself should not be done by anybody. Don't do it. I'm not telling you to harass them, and I never will tell you. Even if they are found, if anyone is found to be harassed, do not go harass them, because at the end of the day, they're still human beings who may not be in great situations. I understand that's foolhardy to say. I understand that's foolhardy to think because of what they possibly could have done to Selene. But at the end of the day, I still truly believe that. So, but let's move on to more information around this. Dokibird released a statement regarding it, which talks about how she was promised that all the legal documentation that was involved would be kept between, the lawyers and the legal teams. She was worried that her, conditions and the reason why she was hospitalized would be released to them as well. But it turns out, according to both Nijisanji and her lawyers, it was not. And which is a good thing, because that is a whole different type of bucket that you don't want to, put your worms into. I don't know what the hell kind of saying I just said, but you get my point. So, and Dokibird continued saying that she just felt like I feel really bad for her, because she just felt like she just wants to move on so badly, but Nijisanji's just really having it just seems like a fun time making it way worse than it should be, and not handling it behind closed doors and making more open to the public, which is beyond insane as a company to do. Always, as a company, you should always deal with this type of stuff closed doors. Hololive does it, and they do it tremendously well. So it's very strange that Nijisanji doesn't want to do this at all. Now, if you're wondering if Nijisanji had any response to that video that they had the three livers do, they did about a couple hours after that video. And it basically reads, regarding concerns that have arisen in relation to the current situation. In the stream note earlier by our libraries, a message from Nijisanji, and it was mentioned that parts of the information received from Selene and her lawyer was shared to them by Any Color. As mentioned in that stream and in a notice published by Any Color Incorporated, notice termination of Selene Dotsky's contract with Any Color, Selene and her lawyer claimed that libraries affiliated with Any Color Inc. were involved and they will hold Any Color Inc. legally responsible. Selene and her lawyer mentioned the possibility they will also hold libraries affiliated with Any Color legally responsible. In addition to check the validity of Selene and her lawyer's claims, Any Color Inc. shared only necessary parts of the information sent by her lawyer without libraries and led an internal investigation. To begin with, Any Color Inc. has not made any confidentiality violation regarding submitted documents for legal claims such as these. However, regarding the specific information and documents which Selene's lawyers requested that we do not share with our libraries, with almost concerns of the request, Any Color has not shared any such information. In addition, our libraries are not held to any confidentiality obligation regarding the information shared to them from Any Color Incorporated. Thus, there are no legal issues regarding the information shared to the public in the stream made by our libraries. After rigorous legal check, Any Color hereby declares that it has not made any confidentiality violations while checking the validity of claims made by Selene and her lawyer with its affiliated libraries. So, in this basically PR message that they sent out, it's basically saying that they spoke with their attorneys, the lawyers, and they apparently claimed that any information that they did share with the libraries was okay in their eyes, that it was okay, which is kind of wild to say, because in a situation like this, you have to have permission from both parties. You cannot just go to your lawyers and say, hey, is this okay to share with libraries? And I think that any lawyer, honestly, will probably say no, So I don't know where they're getting, legal advice from, but, that just seems like really bad advice from the lawyer themselves. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I don't have any, legal knowledge about any of this sort of stuff. So this is just coming off from just, kind of basic knowledge I've gathered over, the years from, YouTube videos and stuff like that. So I don't know. But it feels weird that they are doing this. And they not only did this, but also mentioned that it was approved by the lawyers themselves that the libraries were allowed to say this stuff, that was involved. And it just seems like they're trying to protect themselves by coming out with this, claim. And, it's similar to how, Activision basically investigated themselves and found nothing wrong with what they did, and it's weird because if none of the stuff that Selene had in her videos was legally binded or legally would harm anyone or have some sort of information in regards to it, why in the world would you still share it with with the libraries and allow them to make that video? It makes no sense to me. Why did you put them out there? If this was an internal investigation, why in the world is it public for us to see, to view? Why? I don't understand that. That is baffling to me, So it's very, very hard to see why they did any of this. The only thing I could see is just trying to protect themselves as a company, and literally putting the three libraries who went ahead and made that message, to made that stream, to basically, take the bullets instead of them. And like I said before, why are the staffers not the ones in charge of that kind of stuff? Why did you make the libraries do it? Why? Because you think that the libraries will be seen more compassionate? Do you think that people will see them be like, oh no, it's okay, don't worry about it, because they're fans? A lot of people can see through bullshit. They're not afraid to see through bullshit. So it's very strange that this is their approach to it. And one other thing is that this line right here, Selene and her lawyer mentioned the possibility that they will also hold libraries affiliated with Any Color Inc. legally responsible. This tells me that the reason why Selene specifically had certain information put into legal documents when it regards to, according to the video, Alira, Enna, and Millie, why would she put them down there? The only reason why anyone would put them down there is that they're involved somehow. I'm not throwing accusations. I'm not saying they were the ones who are harassed, but this does not paint a good picture for them, and it will only cause more harassment. And harassment, according to your libraries in that video, is not condoned by anybody. So it's very, very, very incredibly like weird that you are putting this information in a post like this. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. It's baffling to me. And this statement does nothing to absolve you from anything. It doesn't make you look better. It doesn't do anything. Even in this statement, you're literally telling us that you gave people who are not in the legal department access to information that should have been private. You're basically admitting that you did this, and you're using the idea that you're doing an internal investigation to find out the truth about any of these statements in the documents. It's true. Why would you do that? If you really sign an NDA to keep that legal stuff private, this is breaking that NDA so badly, and you're admitting it not only through talent, but you're admitting it through here. And the talent themselves could now get caught in the crossfire of legal issues. This was incredibly handled very poorly. It's really baffling the way they did this. Oh my goodness gracious. It's incredible how like this type of stuff is so badly done by this company that should be on top of this stuff. Oh my goodness gracious. Not only that, but the CEO of Any Color made a video, and he spoke about the whole situation. However, there's many issues that I personally have with this. The first being is that why in the goddamn world was the first thing you mentioned in your video about profits, about you using the word negligible in terms of how like Selene's termination and the whole news and issues with it would be negligible in your profit, that you wouldn't lose money, when in fact you did lose money. The stock market shows that you did lose money. Why is that the first thing you mentioned in your video as a CEO? It should not have been the first message. It should have been about Selene and the mental health of not only her, but also the mental health of your staff, of your talents. It should have been about that, not about profits. I fully understand why he did it first. It's to appease the shareholders, and because at the end of the day, shareholders are what matters to our freaking company. That's just how it works. I understand. Like, I can understand that. But it should not be the first thing you do. It should not. It should have been talking about Selene and everything else that's been going on in your company. Because at the end of the day, that is what's causing your profit to plummet. You have to admit where you are wrong in certain situations about how things were handled. But you are not doing that, which is baffling to me. It's baffling. I don't get it. So then he moved on and talks about Selene and how she basically helped grow Nijisanji En. But it also comes off as like, that's it. That's all that he just mentions, that, and that she was an integral part to Nijisanji En's growth. And then he moves on. He doesn't necessarily talk about like anything that could have happened, which legally he probably can't, which is understandable. But then again, you also broke a goddamn legal issue with the documents that were not supposed to be shared by anybody. So it's like, at this point, at this point you might as well share that too. But I guess they pick and choose what they want to share. I guess I have no idea. I honestly have no idea. And he talks about how like they're working to change the culture in the company. They have, according to certain people, articles and stuff like that, they have fired management and are hiring new ones, which is, I guess, a step in the proper direction they should be taking. But at the end of the day, it's only a step. All of this has tarnished their reputation really badly. And it's not just me saying that. It's like a lot of people in the community saying that. There's a lot of people, clippers, people who do reactions, people who follow talent and all that stuff, they're basically boycotting. They're basically saying we've had enough. We're done. That's what they're saying. So the video did not help in any way in terms of Nijisanji. It did not help at all. There were other mentions about how like they want to stop hateful messages and harassment given from outside people to the talents of Nijisanji, which to me is just like, what? Why are you saying this? The only reason why people are sending this stuff is because of the way you're handling this situation. That's the only reason why people from outside, some random fans or just fans in general, are giving you messages, is because of like this whole situation. What do you like? Why are you saying as if like it's not your fault? And why are you not addressing the internal situation? Because internally, this was the entire problem. People harass Selene internally. It wasn't outside harassment. It was internal harassment. So it's very weird that this video, this message from the CEO was talking about like outside harassment. At least that's what it sounded like to me based off reading the subtitles, because it's like, it was one of the things I didn't fully understand what he was talking about. It just sounded like it was talking about outside harassment, which I'm like, but that's not the reason why Selene, had a possible situation, an attempt at her, life. What do you like? It didn't make any sense why he said that. And then the rest of the video is just talking about how like they plan to change a lot of the culture, which, like I said, is a step in the right direction. Not right, well, proper direction, I should say. But whether or not that will work, whether or not people will forgive them, it's very hard to see, because this is like something that just really, really damages them as a company really badly. And my personal thoughts on it is that it was a video that, again, didn't help clear anything. It didn't help anything at all. I didn't like the fact that the first thing he talked about was profits. I didn't like that part. That should have been like the last thing, he said. The other thing is that why wasn't this a video done first? That was one of my other big issues. Why is this not a video that was done first? Because if you posted this video, okay, you know what? At least you're taking measures. You commented on it. You're taking measures. And, good. Why in the world is this video coming out after the whole Alira situation? That whole Alira video. Why is that coming out? Why did that come out first? Well, how in the world do you expect us to believe anything you're saying in that CEO video if you're also making your talent do videos like that? I don't get what are you doing? It should have been the CEO video first, and then never the Alira video at all. That video should have never been, done. If it wasn't management, but instead like the talents themselves, you should have stopped them. As management, you should have stopped them. Like literally, just don't make them make that video. That's it. Handle it internally. That's all you had to do. Why are you making all this so public? And it's not like you're doing this accidentally or stuff is leaking out. No, you're doing this like, it just feels like you're doing this on your own accord, which is weird to me. Like, this is not being handled really well. And yes, I don't own a company, so I don't know how companies are run properly. But like, just common sense, none of this makes sense. It just doesn't. So it's like, I mean, look at the way Hololive handles that kind of stuff, terminations, graduations, right? When Hololive handles it, they do it behind the scenes. When the whole Russia situation happened, they knew about it for many months, but they didn't let it leak out. They didn't talk about it in the open. All they did was, handle it behind the scenes. They had the legal team. They had investigations done. They didn't say anything out to the public about anything that's happening. It was so simple. And that's how a company should be run. Hololive really did a really good job in terms of that situation and all of their situations. even they admitted when they were wrong about the whole thing with I believe it was I'm sorry, the dragon VTuber. I'm sorry, my brain is scrambled today. I'm sorry for not remembering her name, but even they somehow handled that situation pretty well, despite the fact that it may not have been the best way to handle it, right? But they still handled it much better than what Nijisanji's doing. So all of this information I know is a lot to take in. I might have missed a few stuff. Like I said, I'm just scrambling through everything, just trying to figure everything out. And it's just so disheartening to see, because Nijisanji is really not helping themselves at all. And not only are the talent probably going to be harassed in some sort of way, not only did you put talent in the crossfire, and it's not looking good. It's not looking good for Nijisanji. People are clamoring for Nijisanji to, falter and collapse and, end the Nijisanji EN chapter. I don't know what will entail in terms of Nijisanji EN. I know that some Nijisanji JP stuff is happening that it doesn't paint a good picture either on that side. But again, these are all allegations. These are all allegations, and I have no proof whatsoever in regards to any of this. And it's just going based off everything that we have heard from the video, from the statements from the CEO, from just everything that's been happening in the last 2 months in regards to Nijisanji. So, yeah, it's a lot to take in. I apologize if I missed anything. If you think I missed anything, I truly apologize for that. There's just so much to take in. It's baffling to me. But I wanted to talk about it and give information and my own personal opinion on it. It sucks. It really does suck, because I've been a real big fan of them, and it's a shame what's happened to the company itself. And I mentioned this in my recent Hololive reaction video, but I probably will not. I mentioned that I won't be doing any Nijisanji reactions in the near future. I think for now I probably will stop making Nijisanji reactions permanently. I just don't have the heart. With the way Nijisanji is doing all this, I think every talent in Nijisanji EN should graduate at this point. They should just close the chapter, have them graduate so that they could start, their indie careers and maybe go into another agency. I don't know, but Nijisanji EN just doesn't seem like they're handling this stuff very well. So, but hopefully this video has helped you kind of understand what's happening with the Nijisanji situation. I'm sure a lot of other people are talking about it as well. At the end of the day, don't harass anybody. Don't use this video to harass anybody. Just don't harass anybody. Anything I said in regards to like any sort of like legal stuff, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not saying that everything said in this video is fact. These can still be considered allegations. That's it. I'm tired. My throat is like really dry right now from talking all this much, but thank you so much for watching this video, and hopefully, I don't know what else is gonna happen with Nijisanji EN in the near future, but like this was really hard to take in. So thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time in a more happier video. All right, bye everyone.